Right, okay, so welcome to our Heat CSP. Now, this close study product actually replaces the Reveal magazine, but they are both the same in the sense that they are celebrity gossip magazines. So, for things like conventions of the gossip magazines, you can go back to the old Heat video and watch that. It goes into a lot more detail about the genre conventions and what to expect. But for this one, we're going to go into a bit of detail about the actual magazine itself. We'll do a quick semiotic analysis. We'll talk about the representations they've chosen to use, and we'll also cover the social, cultural context of it. So let's crack on. Okay, so Heat Magazine is actually a member of BMG, the Bauer Media Group, and if you've already learnt about the KISS FM radio close study products, then you will have already learnt about this company, the German conglomerate that own a whole range of different media categories, and they're a really strong example of convergence. And in particular, we can see with Heat Magazine that it actually comes with a whole range of other platforms. So it has Heat Radio, and it also has some Heat TV, and it also has the magazine as the flagship. And there's also a lot of social media presence around it as well. So BMG, what we're going to be looking at is the Heat Magazine, which is the flagship for this brand, and we're going to look at the front cover from November. So let's crack on, let's do a semiotic analysis of it. So to start off with, we'll look at the design and layout. So in terms of the design and layout, it's quite complex, it's very busy. There's lots of different stories that all seem to have pride of place. You start off looking at the posh photo that over obscures the heat, and then your eyes sort of kind of do that golden ratio swirl. So then you're drawn to the Cheryl and Liam double life article, you make your way down to the advert, you see Giovanna's secret heartache, I'm a Celebrity article, and then you wind your way back up to another story about Harry and Meghan, which again also obscures the Heat masthead. So there's lots of different things grabbing your attention here. It's a bit of a journey of things to catch and grab your attention. The Heat masthead has been obscured again. Again, we've talked about this before, about how this is a reward for the readers. It's quite common to obscure the masthead. It's been obscured by two different stories, which I think is representative of just how busy this magazine is. And that they want you to know that it's busy. They want you to feel like there's not just one article in a whole magazine that's of interest to you. They want you to feel like it's going to be a good, engaging read full of content. And it's this connotation that it's bursting with content. It's so full of content that literally the front cover is bursting off the page. In terms of juxtaposition, we can see the titles, all the different fonts they've used, all the different kind of content that there's going to be. The yellow and pink juxtapose, and they do stand out. They're very attention-grabbing colours, and we'll come back to that in colour palette, but I would say the juxtaposition here as well against the Heat masthead just being white and everything else being very bright, very colourful. Okay, so if we just look at the verbal codes, and we'll do the typography at the same time. The typography of the masthead, it's got a few little serifs, but it's still quite simplistic. It's almost a bit comic-y, a bit interesting and vibrant. It's fun, basically. And if we look at all of the other font, it is also fun. There's only a couple of other examples where they've not used a sans serif, so most of it is in sans serif. The posh, they've used a serif, and that makes sense because it's posh, so they've used that to kind of connote the idea that she's posh. And in the advert as well for the Christmas stuff, they've also used some serifs there. So some of the verbal codes, let's look at some of the words that jump out and grab your attention. Remember, it's a celebrity gossip magazine, and so most of it is about gossip and trying to use those narrative devices such as enigma to kind of set up this mystery or this puzzle and get the reader to want to then read it to find out the answers. So we've got caught out, secretive star, accused of lying to everyone, Giovanni's secret heartache, Harry and Meghan's biggest mistake yet, Danny terrified as baby daddy stands trial, Liam's double life with Cheryl. All of those cell lines, they have like court, secret, affair. They set you up with this idea that they've uncovered a secret and that you want to then know what it is. It's very secretive. It comes across a bit sly as well, like they're trying to hide it from you, and that you need to read it to find out. And a lot of it seems to be around this idea of relationships. So we've got double life, secretive star accused of lying to everyone, caught out, secret heartache, biggest mistake for couple. You know, it's all aimed at relationships, even though most of the stories aren't actually about relationships. Once you actually delve in and you read them. So we've then got the colour palette. We talked about pink and yellow. They're quite feminine colours. They're also very, very bold, attention, loud colours. So they connote for me fun. They connote the femininity of probably the target audience they're expecting to attract. And then other than that, you've just got the natural colours within the actual images themselves. So they've not used black and white. They've not used professional, stylish. They've got the backgrounds. They've got the photographs. They are like stolen images, paparazzi images. So let's talk about that. Let's look at the photographic codes and the non-verbal codes. Although these aren't professionally staged photos in a studio with the right lighting and the right cameras and all of that, they've still been selected, probably from hundreds of photos that person took of Victoria Beckham. They've selected the two images that show her looking very concerned and worried in her facial expression, and show her leaning into a car secretively. So they've selected those images very much with the intention of creating a kind of the perception that she's up to no good and she's being secretive. You know, who is it in the car? Who is she talking to in the car? What's she been lying about? They've then chosen two separate images of Cheryl and Liam. Both of them looking a little bit smug and a little bit sort of flustered, if you like, as if to try to imply that they're having a secret affair with each other and that they're both very happy about it. So again, they're two separate images, but they put them together, and together that connotes this kind of meaning that they want you to have. They've chosen a picture of Danny looking quite concerned, which matches the cell line. They've deliberately chosen an image of Harry and Meghan where they're both looking down and they're looking quite solemn. Now, that could be from anywhere. That could be from any point in time, any event, any social gathering, any kind of official hearing. Harry's wearing his formal clothes, he's got his medals on, which suggests to me that they're at an event. She's dressed very formally as well. Now, this could well be a vigil, a hearing. They could be in a moment of prayer. They could be in any number of things that they would have to do, but they've selected it. And then once you position that and you construct the page so that you've got that image with the cell line underneath it, that they've made a mistake, the expression and body language then takes on a new meaning, and it connotes that they're second guessing themselves, they're having doubts about whatever it is they're having. Interestingly then, that sort of talks about those representations of all those different people. So for example, the way that they have represented Victoria Beckham is that she's got this chaotic lifestyle. She's been very secretive, she's been very sneaky. They're representing the celebrities as down to earth, really. They're showing them with flaws. They're showing that they're having affairs, they've got secret heartaches, they've got self-doubts, that they're up to no good. They're trying to present them to the audience as identifiable people with this sense of relatability. Also, for the audience, maybe it's a bit of self-esteem, a bit of Maslow's needs, the idea that these high, wonderful millionaire celebrities are just as vulnerable as them, or have the same problems that they do. So from that point of view, there's some kind of Maslow's needs, self-actualization, self-esteem at play here in how they're being represented. If we look at how they've represented some of the ideas, like let's just stick with the posh. It says posh caught out. She's been lying to everyone, and they've used pictures that make it look like she's secretly meeting up with someone. Now, it's not actually true. So, in actual fact, on the inside page on the article, it says defiant posh. Posh don't care what people think, and it's in the actual magazine they label her as she's got a we're above the rules attitude. This story itself is actually about her going between two of their homes during lockdowns. They have multiple homes, and she's been travelling from one of her homes to go and stay in another one of her homes, and they deem that as breaking lockdown rules, and they're trying to out her as being thinking that she's better than the rest of us. Which again would appeal to our audience, you know, if they're sort of in lockdown reading a magazine, they're fed up, and they sort of read this and have a bit of a rant about it. So you've got those representations, and that's really about it. I mean, you could do that for each and every one of them. What's interesting is Queen of the Castle, Giovanna's secret heartache. They've not used a mugshot of her. They've used quite a nice official image from the I'm a Celebrity banks, if you like, and it's not in a unflattering way. It's as if to make you empathise with her, which again, on the surface of it, if we look at our readership and we look at who they're targeting, probably mums, possibly stay-at-home mums or part-time working mums, and they're very much given across this stereotype. And Giovanna is a children's TV presenter. She's a mother herself. I think she's married to someone from McFly, but I might be wrong. And so she's also linked into children's books that you can buy, read them to your kids. So she's very much associated as a mother who does a lot of things with children and with her kids, and so you can see why they maybe don't want to slam her down, why maybe they're bringing her up, because she fits the stereotype that they want to portray. Rightio. So I think that's about it. I think that sort of covers most of it, but feel free to have a look at the magazine and go through it yourself as well.